Hello everyone to the monthly technical steering committee of the open source project EVerest. We have quite a packed update and a lot of new initiatives going on. Today or tomorrow we'll officially announce that Hubject, oh there's a typo here, Hubject has done a plug-and charge software stack certification for EVerest. That means everyone who uses EVerest will get first a discount on certifying, and second will probably pass because we passed already. And we have something similar to announce with the Open Charge Alliance. Just a half an hour ago, it was in the news that we got selected as a golden system on the test. The only EVSE charging stack, and yeah, we'll come to that later. And also there's some news about Testival in Spain. But let's dive into this. Before we go into all the details, let's quickly scroll over the antitrust policy. There might be competitors here in the room, so we have to behave. But let's go into the interesting things. EVerest development update. Let's start with the general update. And Kai or Pete, who want to take this?
I can take this. I hope the background noise is not too disturbing. But okay. I will just get started. Yeah, this time we did not sort it by working groups, or not completely, but the slide presents what we have done in the different sections. So for OCPP, we extended the existing stable API to be able to monitor variables. That was possible via the internal interface already, but not via the external one. And we also added support to change 1.6 configuration keys, not only via the CSMS, but also like charging station software can now control something like a heartbeat interval, for example, internally, if they request it via the API. Yeah, there are like a couple of updates on the external API side. So the EVSE Manager Consumer API has been extended by session information that could be calculated also by some other calls that already existed, but that makes it a little bit easier to consume, like session energy, transaction starting points, endpoints, session duration, stuff like this, you now get. Yeah, and we did a little bit of cleanup and extension of, for example, the auth consumer API, where 2 calls were removed that were only meant to be used for internal use. The same, I think, is planned for the EVSE Manager Consumer API, but not done yet, which is why it is not in this list. Yeah, there were like quite some updates in EVerest Core, but too much for the single slide. So I just added this last bullet for various other improvements.
Thanks. And let's go to the nice new documentation.
Yes, that we just finished today, basically. So we were working on a feature branch for the new documentation for quite a while. That branch was branch protected, and we merged in the single documentation bits one by one. We are now almost done with it. I think there's only one documentation bit left, and this is also included in the preview that we have now made available on this link that is displayed below. The complete documentation is structured a little bit different compared to the existing one. So we are applying the diataxis structure, which basically sorts every kind of documentation into either tutorial, how-to guide, explanation, or reference. I think it applies kind of nicely what we need for EVerest. So yeah, should be able to click on this link and check it out. I will also make a post on Zulip later or tomorrow, so that we can have some time where the community can like actually do the review and comment. The pull request for this is actually missing, so this feature branch will do another pull request for this, for merging this into main, and then at some point move over. But yeah, it's close to being complete, which is why we started this preview phase.
Thanks. On the EVerest Framework.
So yeah, there's a couple PRs open at the moment. Basically, yeah, one thing that pins a certain version of a Rust dependency, a fix for a small bug in basically checking if a path is a part of another path, and then another fix for suppressing a recurrent log line. And under work in progress, I think it's the same as last time.
Okay, so let's go to cloud communication. And this is, again, actually no code news. I already teased it in the beginning. And we mentioned that we want to apply here at the Golden System Under Test program from the OCA already last time. The EVerest TSC agreed to apply, and we got selected today as I think there's 4 companies selected. 2 of them are charging station related, and only that's Autel and Pionix, and only Pionix is really doing something cross-vendor. So we're really, really proud here. And also, if you look here on the text, we are quite broad from OCP 1.6 to 2.1 all the way. So even wider than all the other ones. And I know that also other companies working with EVerest applied. So my assumption is we're just doing this together now. There was no official communication from the OCA, but in principle, the idea is from the Golden System Under Test that this official OCA certification testing tool, OCTT, is used a lot of certifications. It has regular software updates. Sometimes they break. Then there's a lot of pain out there in the industry, so it's never breaking again. They pre-testing every release of the certification tool with a small set of stacks automatically. And EVerest will be just one of those. And in particular, OCA want to now fast moving forward towards OCP 2.1. And yeah, everyone is invited to help here and to get this done. I already know that, for example, Costa Compleo is working quite actively in OCP 2.1 within EVerest, but also others. How do we test, let the OCA test? And that's something as a sneak preview. We'll potentially also open that up when time is right to the wider public. Or if someone just want to ping us, give us a mail, we can give you a sneak preview here. Within our Pionix Cloud system, you can launch EVerest instances and Docker containers. You can give that a certain configuration file, and you can connect it to your CPMS for testing. You will have a second channel to those emulated chargers in order to virtually unplug and plug cars. So it's basically a perfect tool for testing something like the OCTT or testing any kind of CPMS. And since the charger doesn't exist physically, and maybe you want to press a button while you're testing something, we exposed in the cloud also the Node-RED user interface and what kind of charger you're emulating in that cloud. That's totally up to you. You can just upload an EVerest configuration. So it can be AC, DC, plug and charge enabled, yes, no, whatever you want. It can be multiple outlets. It's kind of every type of EVerest charger possible, including all the car emulation. So we, as you know, EVerest can simulate all the ISO communication. So it's a really, really rich and detailed simulation. And for everyone who builds a CPMS and wants to test against OCTT, this is in a way complementary because we are not a test suite, we're just a real charger. And if you want, we are 1,000 real chargers you can freely configure. Car communication. So who want to take this one?
Well, I can take the first slide, and quite a lot of changes, and it's already a bit compressed. I'm just going to do a quick rundown. So from top to bottom, there was a fix to reject multiple B2G connections, which aren't supposed to be happening. A refactoring for the BPT. This is important feature-wise to add minimum limits and discharge limits, notably for the BPT-20 implementation. Then there's a new implementation of isolation monitoring of voltage to earth handling, which is according to the IEC-23, to the new one. Then for ISO-20 BPT, the sign of the discharge limits is now configurable because we're not totally sure yet whether positive or negative values have to be sent, and the standard isn't quite clear on this. This will settle at some point, and the cars will have to agree on one or the other as well. Then a fix for power availability when the energy management needs a bit of time to make the power available to the EVSE manager, that the charge parameter discovery phase is just delayed a little bit so that it doesn't fail right away because there's no power available. Then there's a fix for incorrect switching to BD mode if the EVSE didn't support it. Now also support in the EV manager for command sequences via config instead of just via MQTT. I think this aligns with the EVSE manager for the simulations. Multiple arguments with default for the command sequences is the next one. A fix of session resume with plug and charge, where the authentication wasn't being forwarded to the stack. So this should now work again. The resume and PNC. Then there's a slight buffer overflow refactorization for at least a possible buffer overflow, and there was a slight missing of randomness in the session ID with a recent refactoring. Then in libiso, and another potential overflow in the packet header, and will now just lead to a rejection of the SDP. And sketching possible exceptions in the notably certificate chain errors and some other stuff, so that the stack wouldn't terminate on various errors and just continue and reject or stop the state machine. Yes, that's the summary of the changes. And the next slide, someone else will have to present because
Yes.
I'm not aware of the contents.
Yes, I can take care of that one. So Pete, you spent the last week some time with Subject on getting EVerest certified, and this is now official. So whenever anyone has a charging station with EVerest inside and want to officially certify for plug and charge, they can go to Subject, getting a discount for that, and implicitly that also means probably you will pass because EVerest already passed once. To take a sufficiently fresh EVerest, but yeah, with the current one it will work. And I think that's again similar to the OCA news, great news for us because it's kind of out of the box compliance what this is implying here. It's not officially, you still have to officially certify, but chances are good that this is easy then. So, vulnerability management team. Let's go to the first easy slide. Kai, anything to present?
No, on this slide, not really. But there will be, finally, the report will be out from the security audit in the summer. I think in the next TSC we can probably say more about this.
That would be amazing. Thanks a lot. So the next one is a bit more unfriendly, and we had quite some sleepless days the last hours or last 2 days. Kai, you want to go through that, or should I?
No, I can go through this. So as some of you probably noticed, there's been like a bigger, let's say, a bigger amount of supply chain attacks in the last couple of months against NPM. And this time, unfortunately, we were also affected by it. Especially like it was just one Visual Studio Code extension that was installed on one developer machine that unfortunately was updated at just the wrong time to pull in a affected async API dependency, which then basically caused quite the stir. But however, we do know that like EVerest itself wasn't the cause of the problem. So we do use async API for the stable APIs in EVerest core. However, to even use async API during your build process, you would have had to enable certain CMake flags, and even then, this version wouldn't have been pulled in. So this was pinned to an older version. Therefore, we also know that since the build process wasn't affected, chargers that run EVerest were also not affected. It was really just this one developer machine. And unfortunately, in the way GitHub structures its rights to push to certain repositories, this meant that in the cleanup process of this attack code, it could basically close all the pull requests in the GitHub org of EVerest, then force push on every branch, and therefore make all the open pull requests or most of the pull requests unusable afterwards, because GitHub then doesn't allow reopening of these PRs. We could within like less than 24 hours recover all of the code though on all the branches. We then sent out a notification to all original authors of their pull requests that if they still want to keep that branch as a pull request open, that they can reopen their PRs. And so this was actually mostly annoying to deal with, but not particularly nasty, fortunately, in the end. We did rotate all of the secrets that were affected by exposure from this one developer machine, and we can now basically say that development on EVerest can continue as normal, since we have no evidence that anything of the build process was actually affected. We still recommend that people look up these indicators of compromise in the linked reports. You can basically see which kind of files, if you have them on your machine, shut down the machine and see what actually is on there. That's basically that.
Yeah, and I think so. Initially, we had not been sure if there might not have been more impact. So our initial communication, I think within minutes, we had something on Zulip. Within very few hours, we had mailing list messages. We updated the entire community like 24 hours later. So we had been very proactive and very early. We even called a couple of companies, WhatsApped a couple of companies we know who are actively on this. So we have been more than careful and very, very early and proactive in the communication. And then it also got resolved, luckily, with basically a only annoying impact, as Kai described at the end. But that was not clear from the first minute. So and I think it was like 15 people spending the entire evening 2 days ago. So monthly release notes. Kai, you want to go? I mean, basically, you want to go here? Something?
Yeah, sure. So I think we have announced this like 2 months ago now that we'll move towards a slightly different release cycle. This is still ongoing, so the next stable release will hopefully come soon. But we definitely, in the meantime, continue with monthly snapshots. So watch this space. We will announce this with ample time to basically do all of the testing before the next stable release. Since the char testable has now happened, we probably have a couple bug fixes still incoming, and then maybe we can target it for December or maybe January. Let's see. Okay, then the release notes this time quite long, so I'm not gonna read all of them, but we have just a few highlights. So the departure time pull request has finally been merged, and in general, quite a lot of features have been added. Like I said, the list is quite long, and if you go to the next slide, there's basically a big list of fixes and cleanup that has happened in the last couple of weeks, and on the third slide as well. So thanks for everyone who's contributing, and pretty sure this version will find its way to users in the coming week or so.
Thanks a lot, Kai. And yes, just press pause, or we also send around the slides to the EVerest mailing list. They can read through it and click through it. So, community proposal. First one I will take. Already mentioned it last time, and it got accepted by the Technical Steering Committee and also did some follow-up. So what is this about? There is the Open Invention Network, which is a big alliance of a couple of IT corporates, plus a lot of more members, like a couple of thousands. Even Pionix is one of them. It's free membership for, I guess, most of those companies. I guess Google and others are sponsoring this. It's all about kind of a patent defense treaty, maybe you could call it. So there's something called a Linux system definition. And if any of the member is attacked because using something of the Linux system definition, so like the Linux kernel as open source, and there are patent claims because of that against you, this organization will defend you. And you can see why Linux should be easy to use, and you should not see any risk by using it. And I think it's a really, really good initiative. Also, Linux Foundation works quite a lot with them. And there was, from the Linux Foundation side, and also confirmed from the Open Invention Network side, quite some interest to getting to do something in the energy space and extending this Linux system definition. And we are strongly invited to apply. The next nomination window will be luckily just around the corner. It's from 1st of January to end of February. So then we have to apply. We have to fill out a submission scheme, but they will also work with us to get it right. We can work on getting EVerest into more packages like Heyacto, but it's probably not a gating item. So it feels like quite interactive and also like quite a high chance to get in, which will, technically speaking, the freedom to operate from everyone, the EVerest community, accelerate. And then officially in, I'm not sure about the date. The meeting was really crowded. There was a lot of numbers. I think it will take a year to become affected, but we will know if we're in or not by next summer. So it's not a super fast process, but it's a good one. And let's work in January, February on filling out those schemes and pinning like which repositories we have to list there. End of the day, I think this helps everyone. So next one, monorepo proposal. Who want to talk about that one? This is a big code change proposal and also I think an important one.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Cornelius can talk, but I can take this. Maybe just quickly. There had been discussions in the past a lot, also already with Chartwide and with Quello. There was also a proposal that we shared to the TSC that we wanted to put this to vote to move from a multi-repository structure to a mono-repository structure. Because of the issues that we're seeing with the approach that we took, we now added a set of stable APIs that we plan to keep stable. We plan to do maintained open source releases in the future. So we really think that now is quite a good moment actually to move forward with this and do it, because if we don't do it now, it gets harder and harder to do it at a later point, which is why we suggest to move basically all of the repositories that we have in the EVerest organization together. I think in the proposal that I shared, it is mentioned that we want to keep a few of those separate where it doesn't really make sense. That's the proposal that we would like to put on the table here.
Yeah, and we will just vote and discuss on that at the end after the recording. Thanks a lot, Pete. So next one is the National Science Foundation funding for the open source safe ecosystems. We suggested that last time, the TSC accepted it, and we elected Craig Rodine to take care of that. And today we have a presentation from the team, and I will just hand over to them.
Hi everyone, I'm Yue Xiao, and you can call me Luna. It's easier to pronounce. I'm an assistant professor at William and Mary University, and today I will first briefly go through what is this funding about and our proposal. Maybe next page. Yeah, the SAFE OSE is a new NSF funding program that supports mature and widely used open source ecosystem like projects like the EVerest. The idea is simple, like even strong and active communities still face the growing security, privacy, or safety challenges, especially as the software will become part of the critical infrastructure. So NSF wants to invest in the ecosystem that already matters, that help them to level up their security posture, like things like better vulnerability management, supply chain transparency, better documentation, or overall resilience. This is why we reach out to the EVerest, because it is a very critical and mature project that is a perfect target for this proposal. Next page, please. Yeah, this slide shows like the types of the activity SAFE OSE funding is designed to support. The funding covers like 4 major areas across an open source ecosystem. That includes, for example, strengthening the core code space, or improving the CI/CD and the automatic testing, or secure the software supply chain, things like the SBONs, improving the dependency disclosure, vulnerability tracking, or supporting the SOC technology side, like for example, the developer practice, education, and incident response. Next page, please.
Yep.
Yeah, this is the overview of the funding timeline. The proposal, the first initial proposal due is January 13, and the full proposal follows April 28th next year. I'm not sure whether there is no in my original slides I have the specific track for each timeline, but it's missing here. But anyway, this funding runs for total years and up to 1.5 million in total, and 500K for the first year and up to 1 million for the next year. Yeah, next page. Okay.
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 Yeah, this is the timeline. Yeah. Okay.
Let's go.
Yeah. Next page. Okay. Let me quickly walk through the supply chain risk in the LF energy ecosystem. Basically, from the very left of the picture, you can see that critical energy organization relies on the LF energy project, and those projects in turn depends on the many third-party components. So when our vulnerability appears upstream, just like the NPM attack we mentioned like before, it can easily propagate through the LF energy software into the critical infrastructure. Our goal in this proposal is to help LF energy project reach a much higher level of security, reliability, and resilience by improving the SBON adoption, enabling the proactive AI-driven risk mitigation, and automating the standardized based compliance reporting. This is just the overview, and in the next few slides, I will briefly go through each thrust. For the thrust 1, it is everything about the focus on making the SBON accurate and life cycle aware. Michael, you can click 3 and you can show that. Yeah, this is just the overview. So the motivation is that today, most of the SBON, they are generated by the third-party tools, but we cannot rely on the third-party tools. One of my paper like measure the accuracy of the SBON released by the Java developer, and we found 80% of them are actually have the missing dependency or have incorrect dependency on it. So why those SBON are not correct or not comprehensive? Because they relied on the SBON generator, but those SBON generator, they often relied on the metadata. they are not go deeper into the code itself to actually analyzing the dependencies. So they are often missing like what actually goes into the software. And so and also a lot of the SBOM generator, they are mainly focused on the build time, but the software artifacts can across different phase, like they can through the contamination, production, maintenance, and also like they can be also binary format, right? So this kind of challenge like this SBOM like can be outdated, incomplete, or misaligned with the new standards like SPDX 3.0 and also the CISA emerging requirements. So in this goal is make sure that SBOM remains precise and useful across the entire software lifecycle, like from source code, containers to the deployed binaries, all the way like to generate, audit, and distribute SBOM through the software lifecycle and SBOM lifecycle. Yeah, next page. Yeah, next page. While the SBOM already give us the visibility into dependencies, the energy sector also needs a system that can act on the risk quickly. And as we know, the threat landscape move very fast. Every day there will be a new CVEs, vendor adversaries, OSS disclosure, or dependencies updates that appears every day. So this overwhelms the maintainer and makes today's vulnerability management reactive, slow, and largely manual. As Michael said, that 15 people spend their whole night to deal with the NPM supply chain attack. So we really want to like have a automatic system that can detect those issues earlier and suggest the quick fix. So the secondary research thrust is the goal is to build a proactive and event-driven pipeline. So whenever there is an accident happens, the pipeline will run. The idea is to detect the issue at the moment they appear and verify whether they are actually affected this project. Because some of the like vulnerability, although they are in the dependency, but they are not reachable to the core project that depend on them. So we want to make sure that actually this incident affect, for example, EVerest project, and if it and prioritize those vulnerabilities or incidents based on the actual impact, potential impact on the critical infrastructure, and help the ship the fix quickly, and all generate non-compliance evidence, like non-affect evidence as soon as possible. In a summary, the threat 2 is to like turn the vulnerability and also the license management from the reactive process to an automatic intelligence-driven workflow that can help the maintainers reduce the workload and to mitigate the vulnerability as soon as possible. Yeah, please, next page, please.
Oh, there was some more animation.
And the threat 3 is automate the compliance check against the industry's standards. So this is compared to the above 2 threats, this is more light one. We want to assess the project health, like community, commit activity, maintainer, diversity, dependency, freshness, and map it to the industry standards like EC or ISO requirements. And we also want to check the security best practice, such as the test coverage, patch speed, and secure development workflow. And then we want to produce a very clear, well-organized, standards aligned assurance report to the project. We can generate this kind of report for every release of the product. So the overview of this is the current status, healthiness, and the security assurance of the project. Yeah. Next page. Okay, I think this is the most important part of why EVerest can care about that. What kind of things EVerest can get out of it. And in summary, first, like it definitely can strengthen the supply chain security because we will automate the SBOM generation for the EVerest modules and give the maintainers like full visibility into the dependencies and the vulnerabilities, and also flag the risky components earlier. And this can help that because this is automatic pipeline, and we hope it can reduce a lot of manual work and delivers tooling that and project delivering the tool set to EVerest that currently the project needs. And second, we want to improve the overall security posture of EVerest charging deployment because I think there are a lot of critical downstream users of EVerest. If we can generate the SBOM associated with every release of EVerest, and those SBOM can be delivered, can be reviewed, can be used by the downstream users, then the overall it will improve the security posture of EVerest project. And the next, of course, it will boost the ecosystem credibility because this is NSF funded activity, like send a strong signal like EVerest is not just innovative, it also are mature, trustworthy, and ready to use for SBOM critical safety deployment. Because in the US, there is a bills, Biden's bills, like it's 14026 bills, and there is a requirement that says that every like developer or vendor, if they want to sell the software to the US government, they must provide the software bills of material. So this is kind of become a requirement for the software that wants to be deployed by the US government. So if hopefully it can, like if EVerest can generate SBOM every release and hopefully can attract new partners or contributors or downstream users. And finally, this brings the real engineering support to the ecosystem because the funding is up to 1.5 million and goes directly into the SBOM tooling development, vulnerability automation, and security infrastructure. Basically everything that everyone wants, but currently no one has time or had resources to build. And the best part of that is a minimum cost to the EVerest. So all the development design will happens from the proposal team perspective, like the university will hire the PhD and postdoc to develop the prototype toolset. And we will also hire the developer, fund the developer resources to actually test and deploy it to help the maintenance. And all we need is the input from the EVerest team, like what actually hurts you most and what the exact security challenges and needs you want to solve. And so we can develop the tools to help to fix it. Yeah, next page, please. Yeah, this page I just listed clearly like what we need from the EVerest during the proposal, the submission phase, preparation phase, and once the project found what we want. During the proposal preparation phase, because I already talked with Robert and Clark, and I have already get some idea of what the challenges and problems EVerest want to solve. And hopefully I can also have a meeting with the vulnerability management team so I can know more detail, like what exactly from their perspective they want to solve. Yeah, the proposal preparation phase is mainly focused on like get the feedback, understand the challenges of the EVerest, so we can make sure that what we proposed in the proposal are quite aligned with the actual challenges, problems the EVerest want to solve. And during the submission phase, it's like December. We ask the EVerest and a few downstream users to provide a support letter for us, which just highlight, oh, this is work we want to support, and it is useful and helps. It really helps to address the security challenges we currently have, like something like that. And once the project gets funded, and during the 26 and 28, there are 2 years, We ask of roughly 15 or 25 hours per year, which average maybe 1 or 2 hours per month, which manually involves like testing the SBOM and vulnerability scanning tool with developer and giving the feedback. And hopefully, if it is really useful, hopefully exploring the CI/CD integration that like every release of the project, we will like have the SBOM generation, SBOM auditing, SBOM delivery, and then apply the vulnerability scanning on the license scanning on those SBOMs. And also importantly, we can allocate the funding to support the developer time for this work. Yeah, this is the high level what we want from the EVerest. Then this is the summary of the research team. It's not just me. Our team brings together 3 academic researchers who specialize in the software supply chain security, vulnerability analysis, CPS security, along with 2 industry practitioners from the Linux Foundation who have the hands-on experience with the SBOM workflows, dependency management, and the LF energy ecosystem operations, because we also will host some workshop, webinar to do the community engagement, to educate the developer or to tell the story, successful story, like how we apply this kind of tooling set to the EVerest, like something like that. And altogether, it's like just blending the cutting edge research with the real world open source ecosystem to deliver the solutions. Yeah.
Okay, thanks a lot. And sorry for just stopping the slide. There was something I had to reload. Thanks for that. Again, we'll have the discussion at the end, but in principle, we already showed our support in the last meeting. So I think this will be great. I'm happy to link you to a couple of people to provide the support letters and getting this started. Just let's make everything else really, really quick. So we have some minutes left for the discussion. EVerest CPO forum, we mentioned that last time. It will be started on December 16th. The idea is getting charge point operators on the ecosystem of EVerest, so they give us their requirement, they give us their KPIs, so we can get EVerest tailored for succeeding in their operations. And yeah, we would love to work together with them. 16th December's kickoff. Everyone here who listens to that, please invite every CPO you know when you think EVerest can help them, and if they potentially they can help EVerest. We want to find that out together. Yeah, please send them towards us. Again, next one, we have to do road mapping as we have to do every year. Next slide, I will show you the timeline. In principle, everyone should contribute, either by add comments like what do you want to have, what do you want to discuss, any suggestions, any improvements, or yeah, also what do you want to contribute? That are 2 different questions. You maybe can do wishes, but you can't do coding. And maybe you want to code something even you don't wish. Okay, that's unlikely. But if you want to contribute something, please also mention that to us. We will do that in the different working groups, from energy management to general to cloud to car communication. We'll also use the CPO forum I just mentioned for that. With the next TSC, we want to try to consolidate all the feedback, and then we have to present that at end of January in the next annual review of EVerest. By then, it should be ready. So this just really quick is our roadmap. We showed that a while ago. There's nothing changed yet, so I'll maybe skip this. Quick recap, what happened. Cornelius is just on its way back from the Chargers Festival close to Barcelona. What I heard, EVerest works really, really well in the field. There was a lot of EVerest bidirectional testing, also by different companies. And I think one fun fact I heard about is EVerest plug and charge even works with cars who officially don't support plug and charge, where even the car vendor was not aware that this car can do plug and charge. We just have been so fault tolerant that we can do it with half a broken implementation of a supplier. That was funny and amazing, and I think it proves the point that we're really good in real-world compatibility, even if the real world don't know about the features. V2G Leadership Summit was in Brussels also last week, actually. It was all around bidirectional charging and very in particular AC. I think For a while, I wondered how the industry will hold it with AC versus DC. And I think, yeah, it's just a timely order. Initially, everyone is doing DC, and now the AC chargers are coming. That's what I hear everywhere. There was some discussion like, does it really make sense to do bidirectional charging at all? The grid scale batteries are coming. Will they eat the market? And probably not, maybe. But the industry is really excited about that. The European Commission explicitly invited EVerest and me on stage around a discussion. How can open source help to steer all the policy things? And yeah, let's see if there's maybe also more support coming from Europe, but at least we are high up on the radar. And one gossip, which is maybe interesting to share, there's a discussion, and I think it's now starting to settle, that OCPP 2.1 likely will be demanded by future AFIR requirements. So it will become officially mandatory. I mean, practically it's already mandatory, but it will be official, and it will push towards a very new version. So it will not make OCP in general require, but also a new version. Upcoming events, again, Testival is now at the end. We have the roadmapping session, the CPO forum with the annual review. There will be FOSDEM Energy Dev Room. Try to be there. At least some of us are co-organizing that. Kai will be there as host. There will be the Power to Drive. And please, everyone, if you have any news from the last 4 weeks around EVerest, share with us. If you have any things where EVerest can be seen in the field in the next months or so, please share with us. We really, really want to list everything around EVerest here. So the next EVerest TSC will be on the 18th of December, 1 week ahead of schedule because of all the seasonal holidays. And that's it with the official part. Let's went to the discussion. And yeah, thank you for watching this recording in case you're on YouTube.